When you think of health and safety in the workplace, many people think of physical safety, but psychological safety matters too. The National Standard of Canada for Psychological Health and Safety in the Workplace defines psychological safety as the absence of harm and/or threat of harm to mental well-being that a worker might experience. This sense of safety is essential to an employee's well-being and their ability to function as a member of an organization and wider society. Psychological hazards are elements of the work environment, management, and organizational practices that negatively affect an employee's mental and physical health. Work conditions that can pose psychological hazards include excessive job demands or requirements, lack of job control or influence over work, withholding rewards like praise and recognition, unfair policies and practices, and lack of support. If left unaddressed, psychological hazards can lead to mental health issues, stress-related illnesses, and burnout. There are also negative impacts on the business itself, including high rates of absenteeism, turnover, and accident and injuries in the workplace. As an employer, you are responsible for creating and maintaining a psychologically safe workplace for employees. But how do you do this? Start with a clear policy on psychological health and safety that outlines your commitment and the steps you'll take to foster this work environment. Recognize that you have control over many potential psychological hazards, including employee workload, hours of work, and pace of work. Establish and maintain work practices that promote psychological safety, including providing adequate work-life balance, setting reasonable expectations for employees, and evenly distributing work among team members. Identifying psychological hazards in the workplace is essential, but they can be harder to identify than physical hazards. There are several ways you can do this. 1. Conduct a workplace risk assessment to identify existing and potential psychological hazards. Take care to assess each position in the workplace, as each job comes with different associated hazards. 2. Collect employee feedback through confidential surveys. Employees are more likely to provide honest feedback if the surveys are confidential. 3. Conduct one-on-one check-ins with employees to discuss their current workload and concerns. This will enable you to identify individual stressors and work with the employee to come up with solutions. 4. Encourage employees to report psychological health and safety incidents and have a process in place to investigate them. Treat these investigations as seriously as you would treat reports of physical health and safety incidents. Once you've identified these hazards, you need to implement controls to address them with the goal of eliminating the hazard wherever possible. You can use an adapted version of the hierarchy of controls for mental health to do this. See our video on Workplace Wellness by Design for details. By prioritizing psychological safety and taking steps to identify and control psychological hazards, you can create a psychologically healthy and safe workplace for all your employees.